Right, we'll start off with the Bristol City game. It's great to see the Sky cameras here under the floodlights and a healthy crowd. How pleased were you with that night?
It was a great evening, actually. I know that obviously the result was disappointing, but I thought Bristol City played some superb football, and clearly Steve Quashel, as we all know, has got a good bunch and a good spirit and a good team there, and they're not top of Division 1 for nothing. So but it was a good night. I thought when we went 2-0 down, I thought we could get 2 or 3 more here and have hiding, but it was great to get the goal back. And then for 20 minutes, I thought we played some really good stuff, some good passing football, and it was a very entertaining game. I would have thought that people at Sky would have been pleased, and people watching on Sky would have thought, yeah, that was a decent game of football. But the crowd was great, as you say, the additional revenue, having Sky here, and that certainly didn't affect the crowd. So that was a win-win. And actually after the game it was lovely, because we obviously Mark came up to the boardroom, Steve came up with his assistant manager, Michael Duff was here as well. So we had a bit of a chat about old times and stuff like that. Steve was his usual self, very very chatty and very smile on his face, was obviously pleased with the result and pleased with the way the season's going. But we're delighted for him as well, because he's had some tough times and lost some jobs in difficult and unfortunate circumstances. So I think it's a great move for him. And we've got a very close affinity with Bristol City at board level. So all in all, it was a really good evening, and we wish Bristol City well in the next round. And I'm pleased with the progress we made in that competition. It was all a bonus. Beating Oxford again in front of a good crowd was a bonus too.
Yeah, and then on to Shrewsbury. And what's your view of the current run? Because such a brilliant start to the season.
Yeah.
After at the end of August, start of September, top of the league, and now it's funny how things change so quickly.
We got the start that everybody wanted. We're always talking about having a good start, because if you have a slow start, then you're playing catch up a little bit. I know it's early days, but it was a fantastic first month. And then I think with the Kobe Arthur perhaps going back to Birmingham, disrupted things. We've had a few loans coming in and going out, and it's a shame because the loan signings we wanted, and I talked about this pre-season about not having a succession of short-term loans. We don't want short-term loans, and obviously Kobe was designed to be meant to be a long-term loan, as was Winter from Bristol City. That's been a long-term loan, and they both got called back by their clubs because they were performing well. But it was it clearly is disappointing. But when you look at the teams we played in September, we went to Morecambe and got a point, and really perhaps could have got more. We lost 1-0 at Burton, who were second, and actually I thought we could have got more. So I think the Southend game sending off always going to be difficult. So I think if you look at the games, there's reasons, but nevertheless we would have hoped to have picked up more points than we did. Disappointing not to get the 3 against Wimbledon, and I thought against Shrewsbury at half time we were very comfortable, and I think when we got 1-0 up, actually that didn't flatter us. It was just a shame that we made some poor mistakes, and which is very uncharacteristic, isn't it? Because at the moment we've been relying on keeping clean sheets and not letting in many goals, and to concede 3 all disappointing goals, I'm sure the manager and the team will be disappointed with that. But then you look at how much money Shrewsbury spent close season. I think they signed 18 players. They've got some real quality in the side. But we're not that far away, and I just think we need to, we don't need to knee-jerk, we don't need to sort of panic. I've still got a huge amount of confidence in Mark and Sean. I think we've got a good bunch of players. Asa Hall hopefully will be back from injury soon. Let's face it, none of us have seen him play yet. He played at Bury for about 10 minutes. I hadn't even got there by the time he went off. So we've still got him to come back, which is good news. And obviously now we've got a fairly full squad. So I think Mark needs to sort of just work with what he's got now. I don't see any more lone players coming in. Obviously Terry Cornell's asked to go on the transfer list, so he may move out. But I don't think, I think we need to work with what we want now and try and get some points. Starting with Northampton, which it's becoming quite a big game really, because obviously every game goes on. I think 7 games now without a win. You do start to get a bit restless about that. So hopefully we can put it all together. And Northampton's usually a good game. They'll bring a few fans. Obviously we've got Kate Mohammed coming back, and also Darren Carter. I'm not sure where he's playing at the moment. So we're looking forward to that one. And let's hopefully we can get a good result in front of their home fans.
Yeah, what did you think of Eusebio debut?
Yeah, actually, I thought who would have thought that Eusebio would be playing for Cheltenham? But I thought he had a bearing in mind he only just literally arrived at the club, I think, on the Friday or even the Saturday, I'm not sure. I thought he looked very dangerous. They were certainly doubling up on him and trebling up on him at different times. I think he's another very good signing from Mark. I mean, Mark's done well with us with some of the signings he's brought in, and Eusebio is certainly one I think will excite the fans, and will certainly excite the home fans on Saturday. So yeah, let's hopefully we can make his month a little bit longer than a month. I really do want players to be bedding in and being here for the medium long term, not just a month.
Yeah, it's quite a difficult situation because you bring in a player with a view to a longer term move, but they do brilliantly. They get recalls, so it's not really anything the club can do.
No, absolutely, it's totally beyond our control, and I understand fans' frustrations and my frustration. I don't want to see players coming and going like we did under the previous era. We can talk about, and I'm sure Mark doesn't want that. I think one of the reasons when we are successful is that we have a solid unit of the same players, and I think in August we had that, and we've had a few changes, enforced changes on us, and I think that probably has upset things. But we can all make excuses. The bottom line is, I think we've got a good enough squad there and a good enough management team to get us back on a winning track very soon. And we're at the top of the table, I think, or just about. We need to be far up there in the top 10, top 7, challenging for those playoffs, and hope we can be there very soon.
Yeah. Okay, we'll change the subject slightly. I know you've been up to Glasgow for the Lib Dem conference and spoke about that. Can you tell me a bit about what you were speaking about there?
Well, it's the first conference I've been to for about 23 years, but I was quite excited about going because of it's the last conference before the general election. But as it happened, there was a motion on reclaiming the national game, obviously football, and that was on the Tuesday morning. So I thought, I can't not put a card in and try and speak on the motion. I'm probably the only Football League chairman at the Liberal Democrat conference, and it clearly was. And I did make the analogy that the Conservatives have got Karen Brady, the Labour Party have got Alan Sugar, and well, the Lib Dems have got me. But it was a good debate. I did manage to speak. As is usual with me, I tended to ramble on a bit, and I ran out of time. I had a strict 3-minute slot, and I'm used to speaking much longer than that normally. But the motion was a good one. I mean, it was really talking about a lot of the inequalities in the game, not just the inequality of wealth, but the lack of black managers, talking about racism in the game, homophobia in the game, lack of women, female directors. And let's face it, it's a good point. I mean, most companies now have to have female directors. We have a lot of women coming along and watching football, and I would like nothing less than having a female director on the board. So there's a lot of good stuff in it about the power shift in the game from the FA to the Premiership. The Premiership just controls everything now, and I think the FA has become a little bit subservient and needs to re-establish itself. They're talking about pricing, and they're talking about the inability of supporters to influence clubs, particularly when new owners come in and they want to change the colours, they want to change the name, they want to move the stadium, and we all know examples of that. One of the things I said in my presentation was that people got to remember that a lot of fans, also a lot of directors are fans. Ultimately, take Cheltenham Town and lots of clubs in League 1 and League 2. You've got chairmen and directors who are just passionate about their club. That's the reason why we do it. And so those clubs, I think, are in good hands. It's when you get the foreign owners who haven't got the history and the tradition and haven't supported that club forever. That's when you start to get difficulties, I think. And we know the difficulties. Cardiff. I just think to change colours, from from blue to red, without consulting the fans, the whole thing, that's been now referred back to the FA. When we also had the Wimbledon situation, and it's a motion talks about the nation's game, and that's what it is, and we are part of our communities, and so whilst I wouldn't particularly want government to be legislating into football, I think there are things in the game that are wrong and that need changing, and I think there was a whole series of articles in the Independent last week about the lack of money at grassroots level, and that's from schools to local youth leagues, and obviously the disparity of wealth between the Premiership, where people like Rooney in a month earn as much as the entire wage bill of Cheltenham Town for the whole season. That needs to be addressed. So it was good. I enjoyed the debate. I enjoyed speaking, and if we get into coalition, who knows? Some of that stuff we may be able to change the game.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Paul.